What is going to be the topic of today's video, you ask me? Well, it's about an engineer who built a car out of a bicycle. And I'm not kidding. Stay tuned. Before we begin with today's episode of Engineering Explained, I want to thank all of our supporters. Your support helps us make the best videos that we can and keeps us growing. So let's get started. We are talking about a man by the name of Siegfried Samuel Marcus, a German engineer and inventor born in Berlin in the year 1831. He was one of the pioneers of the automobile industry. He was also a prolific inventor who held several patents for various mechanical devices. Marcus was a man of many talents. He worked as an engineer, an inventor, a draftsman, and a teacher. He was also a gifted writer, and he wrote several books on engineering topics. One of his most famous works was his book on steam engines, which was translated into several languages. Despite his many talents, Marcus is best remembered for his invention of the car. He was the first person to build a car that could travel on roads without rails. In 1857, Marcus built his first car, which he called the Dampfwagen. It was a three-wheeled vehicle powered by a steam engine. The car had a boiler, a piston engine, and a set of gears that controlled the wheels. The car could reach a top speed of 16 kilometers per hour, and it could travel for up to 50 kilometers on a single charge. Unfortunately, the car was unstable and dangerous to drive, so Marcus abandoned the project. However, Marcus was not the only one who was interested in building a car. Many other inventors around the world were working on similar projects. For example, in France, a man named Nicolas Joseph Cugnot had built a steam-powered tricycle in 1769. The vehicle was called the Fardier à Vapor, and it was the first self-propelled road vehicle ever created. But the Fardier à Vapor was very slow and cumbersome, and it was never mass-produced. In Germany, a man named Karl Benz had built a four-wheeled car in 1886. The car was powered by an internal combustion engine, and it was the first automobile to be produced on a large scale. However, both of these cars were not practical for everyday use. They were expensive, difficult to operate, and limited to a small number of wealthy buyers. But Marcus was determined to create a car that would be more practical and affordable for the average person. He continued to work on his design, and in 1862, he built a new car which he called the Velocipede. This car was a major improvement over his previous design. It was lighter, faster, and more efficient. The car was powered by a two-cylinder horizontal steam engine that was mounted in the front of the vehicle. The engine was connected to a set of gears that controlled the rear wheels. The car could reach a top speed of 24 kilometers per hour, and it could travel for up to 100 kilometers on a single charge. The Velocipede was much more stable than Marcus's previous design, and it was also much easier to drive. It was so much better than his previous design that Marcus decided to put it into production. He founded a company called the Marcus Motor Company and began selling the Velocipede to the public. The price was very reasonable, just 500 German marks. Unfortunately, the Velocipede was too radical for its time. People were not yet ready to accept a car that looked like a bicycle. Plus, the German government was not supportive of Marcus's invention. They saw it as a threat to the existing transportation system, and they did everything they could to stop its development. For example, the German government passed laws that made it illegal to drive a car on public roads. They also harassed Marcus and his employees and tried to force them to stop production. Despite all the obstacles, Marcus refused to give up. He continued to improve the Velocipede, and in 1866, he built a new version of the car that was even better. It was called the Dreered, and it was a three-wheeled car that was powered by a four-stroke internal combustion engine. This was the world's first four-stroke engine, and it was a major breakthrough in automotive history. The Dreered had a top speed of 32 kilometers per hour, and it could travel for up to 150 kilometers on a single charge. It was also much more stable than previous designs, and it was easier to control. Marcus was finally getting the recognition he deserved. He was awarded a gold medal at the 1867 Paris World's Fair for his invention of the trira. But sadly, his success was short-lived. In 1870, the Franco-Prussian War broke out, and it devastated the German economy. The war also led to the decline of the German Empire and the end of the German economy. As a result, Marcus's company went bankrupt, and he was forced to close his shop. Throughout his life, Marcus had been a prolific inventor, and he had filed over 200 patents for various inventions. However, none of his patents were ever approved. Despite this setback, Marcus did not give up. He continued to work on new inventions, and he eventually built a new car in 1879. This car was called the quadricycle, and it was a four-wheeled vehicle powered by an electric motor. The quadricycle was much more practical than previous designs, and it was easier to drive. It had a top speed of 24 kilometers per hour, and it could travel for up to 80 kilometers on a single charge. This time, Marcus was successful. His quadricycle was a hit with the public, and he was able to sell a number of them. Unfortunately, the quadricycle was not without its problems. Some of the vehicles caught fire, and it caused quite a stir in the public. Marcus investigated the fires and found that they were caused by a faulty battery. He immediately recalled all the vehicles and replaced the batteries. Despite this setback, the quadricycle remained popular, and it helped to establish Marcus's reputation as an automotive pioneer. After the death of Siegfried Samuel Marcus in 1914, his legacy lived on. His quadricycle was displayed at the Deutsches Museum in Munich, and it became a symbol of early automotive innovation. Today, we remember him as the man who built a car out of a bicycle. His story is an inspiration to all aspiring engineers and inventors, and his contributions to the automotive industry will never be forgotten. In conclusion, Marcus was a brilliant inventor and engineer who was ahead of his time. He was the first person to build a car that could travel on roads without rails, and he made significant improvements to the design and functionality of automobiles. His passion for engineering and his determination to succeed despite numerous obstacles were truly inspiring. If you like stories like this, check out our other videos. We have covered many inspiring stories of innovators and pioneers who have shaped our world. Also, if you want to help us keep producing more videos, you can consider supporting us. Your support will help us continue to produce high-quality videos that inspire and educate viewers of all ages. Thanks for watching.